So obviously with the rise of the red pill and this masculinity thing and making men be men again, which has been a very much needed message, as you could see with the popularity of the red pill and all of that, there has been this mentality of, oh, you just grind, just get disciplined, push through it. You know, the Andrew Tate, the Jocko Willing kind of mentality of like, just do it. You know, you don't feel like doing it, just do it. And while that message has definitely been needed for a lot of men, I think that a lot of people who do actually grind for long enough are going to face an inevitable burnout. And you know, if you're someone that's watching this before you've been burnt out, then you know you're ahead of the game, right? You're figuring out like, oh, how can I stop burnout before I actually get burnt out? But the reality is that a lot of people don't think about burnout until they actually get burnt out. And then when you talk about that, or when you ask people like, you know, like your Jocko Willings or whatever, they're like, oh, just do it, you know, just be disciplined. And again, that works for, I'd say it works for a very small percentage of people, right? Because even for those people that do manage to do it, if you do it for a long enough period of time, like even just for a year, really, if you grind hard for like a year or so, eventually you're gonna get burnt out. And the reality is, a lot of people who do watch sort of these videos and stuff, they don't do it for that long, right? They watch the videos, they get motivated, they go to the gym, and then you know they stop, and then they come back again, and they seem like they have this mentality, but they don't really. And then for those small percentage of people that do manage to do that, you know, like your Andrew Tate, your Jocko Willings, your Iman Gadzis, and whatever, like those people who grind so long every day for years on end. I mean, there are reasons for why they're able to do that. Like I'm thinking just in Imran Ghazi's case, like he said, like what keeps him going is like just the stress. He wakes up every day and he's got the stress that he just needs to keep going. And there are lots of reasons why people like that are able to do that, and they don't apply for most people, right? And it's all cool for us to think, oh, if we work hard enough, like we can get there. And I do believe that if you work hard enough, you can get there. But there are many different ways to get to, you know, your success. And if we all try to follow like the one blueprint, which is the same message that has been preached about, oh, if you try and go like to university and everything, there's a reason why men are not making it there, because, you know, we're not made for like academia. We don't really like academia. Like women like that a lot more. And it is this message that has been very good, by the way, that, oh, we can't tell everyone to just follow the same path, because we're not all made for the same path. The same thing applies here. You can't say that like the only way to like success is like, oh, just push through, you know, discipline, all of this. And again, discipline is needed. I'm very much off that belief, right? And here I think you can see a very like stark contrast between, like, you know, you get your Jocko Willink and Jordan Peterson. I feel like they represent this analogy I'm trying to make perfectly. If you go and you ask someone like Jocko Willink, oh, how do I get more disciplined, or how do I start like achieving things in my life, you just be like, just be disciplined. You know, when you say you wake up at this time, wake up. And that works for a small percentage of people, but for the majority of people, it doesn't work that way. Now, if you go and you ask someone like Jordan Peterson, he's a clinical psychologist, so he like deals with this stuff. He knows, he's got into like the minds of people, and he'll tell you something like, you know, he's known for like the make your bed kind of thing. And you know, some people think it's stupid, but for people who have actually been there, like they know like how good that can be, like how difficult that can be for some people, but also just like how good that can be. Just you wake up and you make your bed, and you've sort of got this psychological momentum going. And that's where I'm saying like there's two different ways. Well, there are many ways to get into success, but these are like two different approaches. And if the first approach works for you, great, you know, just push through and you keep going, right? But I've always been of the belief that those people who say just get disciplined, it's like you can't just be like, oh, chuck away motivation, you can just get it done with discipline. Because to be disciplined, you need to have a reason to be disciplined. Like for me, if you want to wake up, like, or if you wake up in the morning and you really don't feel like waking up, and you say, oh, I'm just gonna wake up because I'm disciplined, there's a reason behind why you're disciplined, and I want to know that reason, right? But they sort of just ignore that reason. They're just like, oh, I'm just disciplined, it's just the way it is. And it just doesn't work like that. Now, for the people who are in the second category, which is probably most people who are watching this now, is that, yeah, you need to figure out how you can manage certain things, because we've spoken about how you can't just, you know, put your nose in the grinder and just keep going, because you know you will get burnt out. And I saw a quote that really like I'll never forget, and it was basically that like if you don't take a break, the break will take itself. And if you're someone that's going through like burnout, like I have been for like the last 2 years, you sort of like what's the word? You resonate with that, right? You resonate with that. It's like, oh, like I just wanted to keep going, like, because I know I don't have an option. And then eventually, like, I'm being forced, like I'm trying to get up and work, but I just can't, right? And if you speak to, like, red pill philosophy and all those people, they'll be like, oh, you're being a little worse or whatever. But it's a real thing, and you need to find ways to manage that. Okay, and that's where the concept of this video comes. I don't know how long I've taken to get into it, but yeah, the first thing you want to do is that you want to make sure that you're getting breaks. Right? We just spoke about how if you don't take a break will take itself. You want to make sure you're having like sort of scheduled breaks every week. For me, I've just thought like Sunday. You just take Sundays off. That's a simple thing. As a Christian, we're supposed to rest on Sundays, basically. If you like read the Bible and all of that, we're supposed to rest. On the seventh day God rested, right? So Sunday is just a natural resting point, and you want to like sort of try and do that. That's something you want to sort of be like, okay, I'm not going to study on Sundays, or I'm not going to do this on Sundays. It's just going to be a chilling time, right? And I feel like a lot of the pushback that you might feel against this, and it took me forever. It really took me forever to start. Like this year, I started taking Sundays off, and just barely. Like there'd be weeks I just work on Sunday because I didn't work during the week, but it's taking me forever. And the pushback is this feeling that like you're not going to get the work done. Right, you're not going to achieve what you need to achieve if you're taking Sundays off, if you're taking breaks and everything. But the reality of the matter is that it's about quality, not quantity, right? So if you're taking breaks on Sundays, which we have established, you're not the type of person that's just going to put your nose in the ground and just keep going. You need those breaks, right? If you're taking the Sundays off, you're taking that one day off, and it's allowing you to be refreshed and to keep going again for the rest of the week. Of course, you're being more productive. You are being more productive because your work is of higher quality. You're not dragging yourself through. And that's before we've even spoken about the most important thing here, which is that you're going to burn out. Like, if you don't take the Sundays off, you're going to burn out and you're going to stop working, right? Like, what's the use of you trying to work Sunday to Sunday if, Tuesday you just burn out. You're burnt out, you're not doing any work. Wednesday, you're not really doing any work. Thursday, you're kind of doing some work, and then you keep pushing. You've taken Tuesday, Wednesday, half of Thursday off, and then the other days you're working, your work hasn't even been of like high quality. And think about the longevity of your productivity. You're not getting anywhere. So that's the one thing you need to like tell yourself, that like these breaks are necessary. They make me more productive because they allow me to be more consistent, which is the most important thing. And also the quality of my work is just a lot higher. I'm more productive, right? And this takes me into the second sort of thing you want to implement into your routine, and it's that, or you want to have a routine, you want to keep things consistent, and you want to figure out like the time that you're most productive, right? Like for me, no doubt, the time I'm most productive is in the morning. If I wake up at like 5:30 or 6 or whatever, and I bath and I'm ready and I'm sitting down to study by 6:30, and I haven't watched anything on my phone, I haven't eaten anything, I'm just straight into studying, and I study for like 2 hours, I take a break, half an hour break, and I study for another 2 hours. Those 4 hours are the most productive hours of my day, right? I'll come back later after I've eaten. If I even come back at like 12:30, 1, I'm just not as productive. I can still get work done, but I'm just not as productive. And there's absolutely no chance I'm getting work done late. Like for me, after like 4 p.m, to be honest, like my brain it's not working very well, and there's no chance of me studying after like 6 p.m. Like just nothing goes in. If for you it's vice versa, then you work on that. But you need to figure out the time you're most productive. You're either most productive in the morning or at night or in the afternoon or whatever it is. Now I think for most people you're probably going to be most productive in the morning, because when you've woken up early, you've got like sort of this fully charged bar. You haven't spent it doing other things, whatever. You've got this energy, and you've woken up early. You've woken up early to study, so you might as well study, right? So there's that, and you want to like sort of set in breaks. Now you can figure out how you want to study, how you want to put in your breaks, but you also want to have breaks. You don't want to be studying for 6-8 hours in a row. That's just not going to work. And you also need to learn about the concept of deep work, which I'd say would be the third point of this video. The concept of deep work is very important. Now, deep work is basically just what I explained. Like when I wake up in the morning and I'm sitting down, I haven't consumed anything, I don't have any distractions, I'm just sitting down and working. Deep work is basically high quality work. You're fully focused on your work. You're not watching videos while you're reading through your notes or whatever. Like you're fully in it, right? And you're doing the hard work. Like you're doing past papers. You're understanding principles. You're doing like active recall, right? You're doing the important things. You're not sort of just just reading over things, just doing work for the sake of doing work. You're doing work that's giving you like proper output, high quality output, right? And there's a book called Deep Work by Cal Newport. I'd suggest you go and like read that, but I'm pretty sure you can understand the concept pretty quickly. deep work is very important. And another thing I want to say is that I've heard they've done studies that basically the maximum, and this is in the book Deep Work, by the way, the maximum deep work a person can like do in a day is like 4 hours. Like the brain just can't do like much further than that. You just can't do that much learning. That really like intense learning for more than 4 hours. It's just not possible. And that's for people that are high performers, like really high performers. People who meditate and they're fully focused on their work. It's not like they're dragging themselves to the desk or anything like that. Like they're optimal. That's 4 hours. So for the average person, you can probably only maximally do like 2 hours, 2.5 hours of deep work a day. Right, so those people who say, "Oh, I study for 12 hours a day or whatever," really, you've only done like 2-3 hours of like really deep fundamental work, and the rest of the work has been shallow. And you might as well, I don't want to say you might as well not have done it, because there's still some stuff you can learn from just the sheer amount of time you're spending. But for the most part, it's a waste of time. Like, and the way that it's going to make you tired for the next day, it's just a waste of time. Like, I'm not saying limit your studying to 2 hours or whatever. Like, aim for like 4 hours of deep work. That's what I aim for. And if you're doing like a really difficult degree, you might benefit from an extra 2 hours of sort of just going over what you've learned, right? But really, that 4 hours deep work is the most important. That's what's gonna make you pass, right? And I've also like just seen this from people who are like, there's this guy on Instagram, and I think he's on TikTok as well. It's called June_yeah, or whatever. He makes like content on how to be like productive, like for students. He does that, and he's like, I think he's a biomed student, so he's doing like a really hard degree, and he's spoken about all this stuff, right? And yeah, it's just very important that you understand deep work, because that's where all your hard work gets done. That's where the most fundamental like learning gets done, and you want to maximize that. And that's why I said you should figure out the time that you're most productive, and you target that, because that's very important. If you study for like 4 hours and you study like in the morning, and you're doing deep work and you don't study for the rest of the day, and you do that consistently 6 days a week, you're taking your breaks on Sundays, you're much, much, much better than someone who's studying, 12 hours a day, but they're waking up late at like 10 a.m., they're having a large meal, they're lethargic for the rest of the day, they're studying while they're like reading, they're not even studying, they're like reading their work while they're watching videos. You're going to outperform them completely, because there's also another thing called like neuroplasticity, which ties into sleep. You need to sleep. You need to get your sleep in. If you're studying, it's a two-part equation. You study, you do the deep work of understanding your principles, and then you sleep so that your brain can. It's called neuroplasticity. I can't explain it any other way. It's how your brain sort of retains information. Because when you're studying, you're sort of creating new like neural pathways, because your brain is learning new things. Then when you sleep, those neural pathways are sort of being reinforced, and you're retaining like what you're learning. So it's just your important things. That's just how you avoid burnout. Basically, you want to make sure you're getting your breaks. Your routines are very, I won't say meticulously, but like very well planned out. Like you've got time for studying, or time for work, and you're working really hard. You're working. It's very intentional work. And then you have times where you're taking breaks, and you have times where you have time to do like what you like. Like for me, I love like football. So even though I don't get to play like indoor football every week or every day like I'd like to, I'll just get my tennis ball and I'll go out and I'll spend like 30 minutes just kicking my tennis ball around. That's all I have right now. Just playing around. It's fun. Or I'll play like some chess, but I like doing that. Find time to do stuff you like. You can do both, but the most important thing to getting that balance is making sure you're not wasting your time watching Netflix or scrolling on TikTok. Please, if you want to like consume content, I'm sure you've realized being on TikTok, going on Instagram Reels, going on YouTube Shorts, that steals your time. It fully steals your time, and when you look back, you're like, I don't even remember like half the things I watched, and I didn't even really enjoy them, to be honest. Like if you watch like a series, you're watching like a full episode, there's something you enjoy about the series. Like if you're watching Peaky Blinders, I don't like, for me, like when I was watching Peaky Blinders, I enjoy like watching Thomas Shelby and like those types of people. I like watching like motivational people. So I can say like, oh, I loved like watching this, I really love this scene and everything. It's better than scrolling. Like scrolling, it's not. There's a reason why like all the social media companies have implemented it. It's almost involuntary. Like they're stealing your time. They're forcing you to steal time. You do not go onto an app. You do not wake up saying, I want to spend 2 hours scrolling on TikTok today, or scrolling on YouTube Shorts or Instagram Reels, right? I know for me, when I go on YouTube, I have no intentions of watching any YouTube Shorts. Like it's like videos. There's specifically longer videos I want to watch, and that's what I'm saying. Like even if cutting out content is really difficult, I know this firsthand. I've been trying to cut it out for so long and I've struggled. You don't even need to cut out all the content. Just cut out like YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, and TikToks. Just stop watching those. They steal so much time, and when you finish watching them, you feel drained because your attention is just everywhere. Like you're not even like enjoying it. So yeah, just stop doing that. And going back to what I was speaking about is that if you stop like having a lot of your time wasted, and you set out your routine properly, like I have this time to study or this time to work, then this time I take a break, and when I have this time off, I like watch videos, right? Or whatever it is, it's much better, right? Because you've planned, you know what you're supposed to be doing, and it works. But yeah, that's how you avoid. That's what I've learned about avoiding burnout. But make sure you subscribe to join the Self Improvement Brotherhood. And until next time, see you boys.